up, everybody? It's your boy, the Kryptonian, saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece Chapter 465, and very excited about this outcome for the Usopp versus Perona fight. I thought that it was pretty interesting about the fact that what we're seeing out of Usopp is he wasn't just running for the sake of running, and just when it seemed like Perona had turned the tables on him, and she's able to use her miniature hollows and they're able to explode, and Usopp can't harm her, but she can actually harm him, and she can actually scare him, and she's using a bit of reverse psychology on him. I thought maybe Usopp would lose, and even Usopp gets to that point where he is starting to doubt himself, and he has that flashback of him telling the rest of the crew, like, leave her to me, I'm the only one that can take care of her. He even puts on the Sniper King mask, and we just need the theme song. We need the theme song, and we need the superhero landing. Oda, you're messing up on that one. But Usopp, he's having his internal monologues with Sniper King going back and forth, and he had me fooled. And I was just talking about this in the last review. You know, Oda uses red herrings to give us a lot of misdirection. I did not even think about the fact that she was able to be a ghost and fly around, which would mean that her actual body is somewhere else, because, I mean, she's got the hollow fruit, so I thought that her ability to, fly like that was just an extension of her devil fruit powers. And Usopp had done all that running around and fired all those shots out of his Kabuto weapon, which he has all these different dials mixed in and allowed. Very smart, and it's very fitting that Usopp takes something from Skypiea at the same time that Enel is just ravaging everything on the moon at this point. He attacked those space cadets, and now he's going underground on the moon for something else, for some other type mission that he's on, or adventure. And it just shows Oda's like connecting everything. And what I thought was interesting was the fact that you see Usopp say there's a room around here, and right away Perona puts two and two together, and he says, that's where your real body is. I didn't even think about it, but it makes sense because I believe she referred to herself as a ghost. And if you're a ghost, that means your real body is somewhere. And to have her being so close to her body, I don't know if that's plot convenient, more so that it's an interesting storytelling choice by Oda to do that. And I know all characters to a certain degree, when they're in the main cast, they have a certain amount of plot armor until their point in the story is served. But at the same time, when you look at how Oda writes, he does things more of a character driven perspective, where if the plot calls for something, it doesn't matter, the plot goes where these characters go. And it's almost like Oda goes back and forth between it, where he has a set in stone plot, but at the same time the actual story itself will venture off, because these characters have their own whims, their own wills, their own desires, and sometimes that leads us astray to other places, like what happened here, where they're supposed to go to Fishman Island, and yet somehow they end up on Thriller Bark. So I mean, it's one of those very interesting dynamics that you see when you read this story, and you see how Oda's kind of building things up. And I thought that it was very telling that, again, Usopp found the body. Very interesting, because Usopp, given his connections with his mother and with Kaya, and how he viewed the Mary as a woman, puts him in an interesting perspective. What's he going to do to the body in order to defeat Perona? Because she has a very dangerous devil fruit. She's probably not physically strong, and she can't actually physically harm you. She has to use those miniature hollows and make them explode. And she's got a gag devil fruit. For the most part, it takes out all the good desires inside of your heart, all the good, and leaves you with the negative emotions. But she can't do anything. Even when she had that scene where she reaches into Usopp and she grabs his heart, you're thinking, oh, she's going to crush his heart, like she's saying. She's like, oh, I was just bluffing. And it goes back to what I said. You have dangerous characters because their abilities are hacks. Their abilities are really overpowered, but they themselves are not overpowered. And I like that that's, something we're seeing here. But again, it's very telling that it's Usopp, right after, not Chopper, Sanji, who is in the predicament where you're seeing his actual character come out, and you're getting to the point where you're starting to wonder, how's Usopp going to react to this? Same way it was with Sanji. How's he going to react to being confronted by the other version of himself? How's he going to react to having his dream taken away from him, getting the clear fruit? Now with Usopp, where Usopp sees a lifeless body, what's that remind you of? His mother. Because his mother, she was sickly. She really wasn't moving around much, and Usopp had to tell all of these lies. And you could argue that the real root of his pessimism, which allowed him to withstand this devil fruit power, is what started there with his mother's death. And so I'm wondering how he's gonna react. That's very interesting, and that's why I love the way Oda writes these type of things, because again, he goes back and forth between plot driven and character driven, but I would lean more towards the fact that he's one of those writers that looks at things from a character driven perspective. But my chapter question to you guys is, do you think what happened to Usopp on Syrup Village, between his mother's sickness, the father leaving, and Kaya with her illness early on, do you think that that's what is the real source of his pessimism? Or do you think that it's more so the events of what just happened at Water 7 in Eames Lobby? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching the end of the video, guys. Have an awesome day.